Today we're talking about conservation. Welcome back to the Four Seasons. I'm your host, Ken Johnson. Today we're talking about conservation. People want to know, Kim, why are you getting into conservation? Why be bothered by it? Isn't that just environmentalism with a different name? All this. Well, as some of you know, I'm of Cherokee heritage. Well, wildlife is important. I'm Southern, so hunting, fishing, that is part of my culture. And I have seen my environment around me, places I used to be at, places I used to fish, places I used to hunt, I would go visit. I've seen those places go downhill. And then I've also seen creatures that I never saw as a child that are now in my environment, like bald eagles, that they're a great conservation success story. Then I've seen government oversight, which if you have not seen the video on the Lacey Act and the Pittman-Robertson Act, I strongly suggest that you click the link down below and go see that video, because it talks about how the government is misappropriating funds and misreading the rules of law to arrest people that are really innocent, and they're doing it on game violations. Environmentalism and conservationism are two separate things. They are not two separate sides of the same coin. They are two separate things. A conservationist looks at natural resources and says, how can we partake in them and yet save them and steward them in a way that we can continuously have access to these resources in a sustainable manner. Environmentalism goes a different route and says that man is the culprit to all problems and that we just need to abolish hunting, we need to abolish usage of resources, basically take this all-out approach that we need to minimize any impact on the environment and let nature take its course. Well, a lot of the environmentalists, though, they look at things a little bit differently because, like, for instance, wild horses. Wild horses are the biggest farce I have ever seen in my life in American conservation efforts. They do harmful impact to the environment. They are not native to America. They have become naturalized, and they need to be eradicated. But there's a federal law against it. So the federal government bans you from going and taking these horses, but the government will come in and kill them. And then they sell them off as dog food or whatever, and they'll auction them off. You can sometimes buy them from auction, but they're not good riding horses because they're wild. Just a few weeks ago, there was a video out. There was no hunters in Africa because of COVID. And if you wonder why a lot of YouTubers don't say COVID, it's because YouTube is very much like China. They make these edicts, and if you don't follow along with it, you get punished severely. And the way that you punish an American is you cut off the money. So these monetized YouTubers were told, if you mention COVID in any form or fashion, you don't get any money. And so they have to say stuff like the situation or the times we live in. They have to be very careful how they put it, because there's certain words, phrases, things that us as YouTubers, we can't be honest with you, the viewer, because YouTube won't allow it. Their guidelines are so onerous, it will not allow the truth. It won't even allow words to be spoken. It is worse than communist China in some ways. So, anyway, due to COVID, South Africa, they've had a problem where people weren't hunting, and so the zebras were eating up all the grass. And so they had to relocate zebras because they were not being culled out like they needed to be. So in order for future generations to have access to zebras, hunters had to come in to South Africa that hadn't been coming in, not harvest the animals, but move them to other areas that probably didn't have zebras. And by doing that, hopefully the land that they destroyed will get brought back up, and then those animals that they didn't trap will be able to not starve to death, get sick, and diminish. It's a balancing act. You're trying your best with the resources, science, and knowledge you have available to be able to partake of certain natural resources, and then also safeguard that future generations have it, that they have an abundant supply. Things that were done in the past would be criminal today. We are constantly evolving. I don't think conservation has all the answers. I don't think environmentalism has all the answers. The only answer I know is the wrong answer is government. That for sure is the wrong answer. But if you look at early America, George Washington, he made his fortune off of fish. Everybody says he's a gentleman farmer. It was fish he made his money off of. You think about the Astors. You know, that was a big family, wealthy family, involved in a lot of stuff. They made their money not off of real estate and you know, hotels and all. No, they made their money off of beaver pelts. So when we had the Great Depression and people had no access to meat, I mean, you had people like Hershey's that they were trying to sell candy bars as a supplement for meat. Well, it was wild game that protected us. When Germany wanted to invade America, and so you had Hitler that was thinking, you know what, pacifist America needs to be invaded. They did research and they're like, you know what, all the hunters in America that hunt, that is a undiscussed, never talked about, never seen military. That there's too many people that hunt and everything. So it was the hunters that safeguarded America from being invaded by Germany, not the government. So it's a critical point in our life, and moving forward, I think if we ever become like Scottish, Irish, British, other types of European societies where we accept wild game as part of the diet, I think it will become more important. I think that we're going to be moving to a society where conservation matters more and more. And so this is something near and dear to my heart, and that's the reason why I talk about it. Anyway, if you have any questions about conservation, if you have any questions about the Lacey Act, Pittman-Robertson Act, anything that I discussed today, please comment down below any questions, comments, whatever, and I'll address them. If you hadn't already, hit the thumbs up, the like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that bell so you can get notifications, and please share this video if you liked it with your friends and family. I just want to thank you for watching, and I will see you again next time.